Fine. Meanwhile, I will be answering few of the questions which I have already received in my stories. So there is someone who is asking about tips to draw portrait in A5 size. So A5 size is very small size, right? So this is the A5 size sheet paper. So if you want to draw a portrait in A5 size, it is better you choose a reference photo that has minimal details. So it is better if it is a close-up photo rather than the portrait which has many details. So that can't fit into this A5 size. So while choosing the reference photo itself, you will have to pay attention. And when you are drawing in the smaller size, it is very important to focus more on the proportions. So even if you make any small mistake in the proportions, that will be exaggerated. So even if there is a 1 millimeter difference also in the proportions, that will look huge when you are drawing a smaller size portraits. I have even drawn portraits that are this small, only this much. So I know how hard it would be to draw portrait in that smaller size. So there the problem is, even if you make smaller mistakes also, it will be highlighted. So you have to pay more attention while drawing the outline itself. Okay, let's see if Shivaraj is there. Shivaraj, you can send me the live request so that I'll accept. Okay, there is one more question from audience. Why are you not suggesting freehand drawing, everyone using tracing and grid method? Okay, here is my answer. See, I don't like to suggest anything to everyone. I am only here to help those people who wants to learn from me. So this is not my business whether they do grid method, tracing or freehand. It is up to them. So I can understand what is your concern, that you are not liking that other people are doing portraits or paintings using a grid method or tracing. See, we can't define what is art and what is not. So whatever the beliefs that we have, that is only applicable for us. We can't impose our beliefs onto other people. And there is see, these are just methods. Whatever the methods that you are using to get a outcome, so these are just methods. We don't have to just stick to those methods and judge the entire work. See, everybody will have different goals and different purpose when they are creating the art. So some people wants to just create the impressionism, just some people just like to do live sketches. So in those cases, people prefer using freehand. That is really appreciated, and freehand drawing is really good if you want to improve your drawing skills and the observation skills. I agree with that. But there are many more artists who are painting or who does very intricate detailed artworks. For them, if they start doing freehand, it doesn't work. If they are focusing on hyper-realism, realism, then each and every detail and each and every proportion matters. So for them, if I suggest them to do using freehand, so it doesn't serve. Okay, so it doesn't serve the purpose. So it is up to them, whatever they have to choose. And some people just like to paint. So for them, maybe they are not good at drawing, but they love painting. So maybe they'll go with any of these methods. So I don't see anything wrong with that. So I don't say that you have to do only freehand sketches if you are an artist. No, that is not my business. So people can do any kind of art and whatever the techniques they want in their art. So unless they are not harming anybody. Shivaraj, I can see you. You are on live. Can you send me the live request? Can everyone hear what I am speaking? Do you have any questions? Okay. Please say hi if you can hear me. Yeah. So there is one more question somebody has asked. um, what are the career or business opportunities are there if we learn art? So when it comes to the career or business option, it mostly depends on what we like and what we want to do with it. So there are many people who wants to work under someone and who wants to have that regular source of income. So for them, maybe like teaching in some other academy can be a better option. There are many more options like doing freelancing. So in freelancing, where you will be taking orders and you will be working for them. So either it can be commissioned art, or you can take any creative projects and you can work. So this is one option. So teaching in any other academies can be another option. And apart from this, yes, request. Hello. Shivraj, can you hear me?
Hey, hi.
Okay.
Hi, yeah.
Hi.
Uh,
Sorry, I couldn't see your request. I was waiting for you.
I think so. No worries. Yeah, I'm here now. Yeah, hi everyone. Okay,
Hello. How are you?
should I have to share this thing as my status, just that so that others know, or it will be sent automatically?
It will be sent automatically.
Cool, cool,
Mm,
cool.
they-
We can start.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if they are not live, they will get the notification
that
if they are
that's good.
registered.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you,
Hey,
Shivraj?
yeah, I'm doing good. How are you? It's
Yeah,
been a
doing good.
bit
Okay.
crazy, crazy.
So can
And
you
thank
tell
you
me
for
a
this
little
opportunity,
about
actually.
yourself? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Sure.
so I'm working as a toy designer. In fact, like I come where the 3D modeling is to be made and prototype. Yeah, and I'm parallelly doing art and teaching art. So my medium is pastels, actually, as you know,
Okay.
and for others who don't know, all right. So and yeah, like I'm teaching kids like how to draw and all. Like basically,
Mhm.
I teach mainly, the basics, that what
Okay.
they need to know to begin art, actually, not something which is advanced or like colors, and which children don't really understand if they don't know how things work in
Mm.
black and white. So that's been my inspiration, and yeah, like that's what I'm doing, and working on some subject-based artwork for exhibitions and all. So yeah, it's all going well. And thank you for this opportunity. It's a privilege to share screen with you and coming live with you. This is like kind of new for me. Yeah,
It's my
thank you for the
pleasure.
support.
Even I was inspired by your artwork.
Oh,
So I
thank you
really
so much.
love the kind of
Really
art
means a
you
lot
do.
to me.
So
Really.
and there are very few people who choose to teach. So even though
Yeah.
if they are good at their art skills, there are only few people they choose to teach. I really
Yes.
resonate
True.
with that because even you are someone who likes to teach. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the
Actually,
reason that I have invited you on this
true.
live.
True. Only teachers can relate to this. Why? Because like
Yes,
teaching is a noble job. I heard from someone, and I like he really meant that, actually. Teaching is a
okay.
noble job. You are literally changing someone's future, their like way of life, and you don't know that, but in a way you know that like you are changing someone's life, and they literally treat you like a god if you really leave a mark in their life. So
That's
that is something that's a document for us, actually. Teachers can relate to like whatever kind of like subject that you are teaching, whether it is music or any particular subject, or maybe a part of school or something like that. But yeah, it really gives a lot of joy. So that's why I'm into teaching, actually. Yeah, yeah.
nice to know about that. Actually, even I can relate with it.
Mhm.
So initially, even I did not have any plans of making it as a profession by teaching art.
Yeah.
So when I started drawing, I used to feel lot of, I mean, I used to face lot of struggle to get the right information. So
Yeah.
when I started drawing in 2018, I was still working in a corporate job and I did not have time or even money to
Uh,
invest into some courses. Okay,
yeah,
like it was very
true.
hectic for me.
Yeah,
So I was only learning through Instagram or YouTube,
true,
and
true.
I see like especially other foreign artists, they share lot of information in their YouTube videos.
Yes, yeah.
They they transparently share everything about the process and everything. So
Yeah.
that's how I got to improve my work. So when I started, I used to do really basic kind of sketching. So just
Mhm.
by watching this on social media, I got to improve my work so much. However,
Yeah.
it took me so much time to improve the work because I was not getting the right information available there.
Okay.
So if I had a
Yeah.
mentor who can guide me, and maybe I could have improved little faster.
Hmm.
So that's the reason, like, I want to share like whatever I know so that even other people can
Others.
also learn from it.
True, true.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
just started sharing information on social media, and I see like how people appreciate it.
True,
That gives
true,
me so much satisfaction
true,
rather
true.
than
Same
just
here.
creating art. So I
Yeah.
can relate with whatever that you said,
Mm.
and yeah.
Actually, like my words are not different from yours. Exactly like you. I started with no mentor at all. But yeah, someone had a mark or like a beginner or like a beginning thing for me. Like someone did, like started that art thing into my mind, implemented or like, kind of like. So, but later it's all about like, the society you have and like you have social media. Through those things I got to know about more things, more mediums and all. Then I started researching, and as you said, like we have a lot of information. The only thing is we don't have time to like invest in that thing. Like we
Yes.
do have time, but that maintaining consistency is what like that makes a artist a real artist actually, right? And it's not like swimming, like once you learn, I tell everyone like who approaches me that it's not that what you learn, that what consistency you maintain, that really matters, because it's not like swimming. Once you learn, you can forget, like you can go away, like whenever you are thrown into water you will swim, because it's engraved into your mind. But art is not like that. You have to polish every time. If you are like giving any 5 months back, now you have to start from the scratch. It's not like swimming that it's for lifetime. No, you have to keep on refreshing that thing, removing dust from that. So that's how it works. You have to maintain that consistency, otherwise you will end up uh, starting from the same point which you started as a beginner. So that's how it is actually. So yeah, that's what I usually say to people. And yeah, yeah. So
Like whatever said is absolutely true. So
mhm.
art is not something that we feel okay, we have learned and now we are expert. We can't feel like
Yes,
that.
yes,
So if you
there is no
learn
end
something, then you'll understand that there is so much
to
to
learn.
learn more,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
that's
So
totally
we
true. It's
never
not like
feel
any subject.
satisfied. So even though if we feel like if we feel that we are settled with this, then I don't think so. We'll have further growth in that. So if
True, true, absolutely.
we have to keep upgrading our skill.
Yes.
So even though if you are teaching others, you still have to uh, keep inventing maybe new mediums, or you
Yeah,
have to try new mediums. Like also we have to find our own style, right? So that will
yeah,
take so
true.
many years, I guess.
Yeah,
Maybe it is not
that's true.
possible
That's true.
in the
But trust me, it's worth spending that time, because
yes.
there are only few people who enjoy the process, not the result. And if you really understand that thing, then like you can learn anything. But the most of the people end up just regretting about the result. What I
Mm,
suggest is you should always enjoy the process, no matter whether it is art or music or whatever you are doing. If you don't love the
mm,
process, you cannot really excel in that thing in long term, like as a bigger perspective, what I'm saying, right? So if you just
yeah.
into result, like you will not be happy with what you are doing. You should just find ways and how to love process. And what you said is exactly my point. Like you have to try new mediums, because you are exploring new things. You want to learn some new things, or you just want to experience things. So that's what loving the process means, right? So yeah, I really believe in that thing. And you get to know more and more things. Maybe, who knows, like maybe there's something bigger waiting for you if you don't try new things. how will you know where you are good at actually, right? So that's
That's true.
absolutely, I believe in that thing. Yeah, true.
Okay.
Yeah, so you just have to keep on working. Yeah.
Yeah. So just let us know what are the mediums that you love and like
Yeah.
what is your current favorite medium?
Okay, so I actually started with graphite pencils because I had no idea about art, nothing at all. There was one teacher of mine when I was in my primary school, like, eighth or ninth standard. And the only tool that I knew was the Nataraj HB pencil. So I started with those, that, just black and white thing. With after that, I tried a little bit of acrylic and oil paint. Not oil paint, as in like literally oil paints and all. I tried a little bit of acrylic and all. Later, like by the time when I was investing myself into acrylic, I moved to Bangalore in search of job and all those things. Parallelly, my education was going on, so I got exposed to a lot of mediums, a lot of people, a lot of different communities. I get to meet a lot of artists here from Chitrakala Parishad and all. So when I like researched really into this thing, I found a lot of dry mediums because I was good at dry medium, which is graphite and charcoal. So I thought like let's explore what is there in this dry medium because art is like divided into mainly into wet medium and dry medium. So I took a turn which never directed me towards wet medium. So I completely went into dry medium, and I'm like happy about what I'm doing because I'm doing what I'm what I loved. Uh, Wanted to do or whatever. Yeah. So I entered into dry medium. Then I explored about pencils and all. So I got to know about wax-based pencils, oil-based pencils, watercolor pencils also, which I never tried because it again leads to like wet medium, which I really want to try. But presently, what I'm loving is dry medium. So what I can say is like presently I'm at a stage where I am exploring with pastels, pastel blocks, and pastel pencils. I'm really loving the result only because I really used to admire the result that used to get through cameras. Like you have focus, off focus. There is a depth thing actually. So even if you observe something, when you are focusing your eye on something, everything goes blur. And when you try to look at that blur thing, that becomes focal point, and the rest of other things go blurry, right? And when you take a picture, you can really relate to that thing, that how blurry the off focus things are. So that what fascinated me, and I really wanted to create that blurry effect,
Okay.
with whatever medium what I wanted to use. So that's was my like target actually. Still it is actually,
Okay.
that's what I love doing. So and when I researched, I got to know that pastels are are such medium where I can really create that blended
Mhm.
soft like a off focus effect, blurry effect. And charcoals of course, which is a
I
black and white
really
version
love
of that.
using soft crystals as
Thank
well,
you
and I
so
have
much.
seen
Yeah.
your work. It is amazing. Like very
Thank
few people in India are using soft crystals, right?
Yeah. Like
So,
when I
yeah.
was exhibiting, my paintings and all, like recently I started exhibiting my paintings. Most of, people, like the comments that I got,
Mm.
like they used to ask what kind of painting it is. Like, first of all, they thought that those are photographs because I was
Mm.
literally copying the photograph because I say, right, uh, I, I try to focus something and everything else should go blurry and it should have some depth also. Some things are too blurry, some things are half blurry, something like that. And as there's a gap between the subject. So it used to look like literally, photographs. So they used to say those are photographs. When I say, when I used to tell them that no, these are not photographs, these are paintings. Actually, these are soft pastel paintings. And the next question they used to ask me is, what is pastel? And I wondered like why people don't know about pastels, whereas in European countries you don't see this kind of scene where everyone starts with pastels. Like even children's, they start with crayons, which we Indians have no idea at all. Like as a child, you will be directly using that camelin acrylic paint and all. Not that I'm saying like it's not good to know about that thing as a child, but it's not a culture maybe in India right now. So that's why people don't
Also, I
know much
think the
about pastel.
materials,
Yeah,
what we use in soft
availability,
crystals are a bit more expensive, and also it's
expensive
not
side, yes.
manufactured in
Yeah.
India.
And only few
That's
people love the result that that you get with pastels because these are not rich colors, as in like, red will not look red, crimson red type. It will look a little bit of blood red, flat color, all muted. That's why it's called pastel, right? Those are all muted colors. So only few people love the result of pastels actually. So that's why, we have less people investing time into pastels. But the way it gives the results, right? Those are mind blowing actually. Yeah, if you really love creating blurry results, like soft results, yeah. So that's why I love
So
pastels.
actually, there are few questions from the audience. I was
Okay,
answering those questions.
sure,
So
yeah.
we'll address
Let's
them.
go.
So even if you have any questions with your
So yeah, so
audience,
I
you
got
can
some
put them.
DMs, like some questions. I just made a note of those things.
Yeah.
So some about graphite pencil and some about color pencils, and most of them are about what materials I use.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, the typical question, right? What is the paper? What is the pencil that you are using? Because it's not visible in the reel.
Mm,
So yeah, typically those kind of questions.
okay.
I just made a note of those things. Will
Yeah,
like even I want
sure.
to address those things.
Actually, I
After
was
you.
addressing this question, what are the career or business opportunities are there if you
Mm-hmm.
learn art? So this was the question from my audience.
Mm-hmm.
I have mentioned that like as a career opportunity. So you can sell your paintings, you can do as a freelancer, you can work with some architects or
Mm-hmm.
even interior designers, and you can provide paintings. So
Yeah.
this is one kind of career opportunity, and other than this, you can opt for teaching. So you can start your own teaching. I mean, online art classes or offline workshops. But if you are someone who wants security or who want uh, s- I mean, the structured way, like
Yeah.
working somewhere. So then you might maybe you have to finish some official art degrees. You have to do BFA or something. Then you can get a job as an art teacher. So I think these are the few options I know. And also right now, because of the digital medium, we have many other options like you can become an art
Yeah.
YouTuber. So these are the few options, right? So do you
Hmm.
want to add anything into this?
Okay, I'll just take myself as an example because I, graduated as a mechanical engineer and started working in aeronautical design. Okay, and because of Corona, like everyone's job was at risk, right? So I feel even I was one of them. Like faced a lot of critical situations at that time. So that's when I got a lot of time to invest in art. Okay, so that's when I started doing more and more art, and that's how I like posting in social media. Through that I got a lot of audience. Through that I got some network as well. So
Mm.
like someone from present company saw my artwork, and it's a toy design company. So
Okay.
yeah, so I got one connection.
Mm.
Through that I approached them, and they were just explaining me what the job description is and all about that thing. So the bottom line here is, long story short, uh, I just like ended up joining as a toy designer, come like modeler kind of job actually. So like in a way it will help you. But yeah, like taking me as an example, I started this thing just to enjoy my time, which I'm anyway
Mm.
like I'm not doing anything.
Mm.
I'm just sitting in quarantine or like
Mm.
isolated. So yeah, so with that thing I just spent more time and doing art and all. But parallelly I was trying to I was planning to start teaching actually, and somehow I
Mm.
started later after that, doing all the artwork. Through that I got some network and all.
Mm.
But what I suggest, like even people ask me like what career opportunities you have in art. So as you said, like today's generation is like more about creating content than consuming content. There are a lot of influencers in like present time. Then
Mm.
consumers, it's going that wild now. So yeah, you have a lot of opportunity there. Now you have open social media. Like people will know what you are doing, you are putting on internet. So
Yeah.
like you will get commission artworks if if people love your artwork and
Yeah.
all. And you can teach if you really want to be like a you can create Patreon account, and you can be a YouTuber. That is there, of course, like with social media and all.
Mm.
And of course, like as us, like they can be teachers. Yeah, and if they are really, like if they really have time and all, they can really become someone like, like who created, sculpture with Ram Mandir thing. See, like no one knew before this thing. So now he's
Mm.
totally like famous everywhere in the
Right.
India right now. So you never know what is waiting for you. So you just have to keep on working on art. But what I usually suggest to people is don't think that you have to completely switch to art uh, to really do something phenomenally, a
Mm.
job which gives you money. So what I suggest is
Mm.
start doing this thing parallelly with whatever job that you are doing. When there will be one point where you feel like you can completely switch to this thing and you can live off that
Mm.
part. So you just have to, calculated risk. What I say, like don't take
Mm.
risks. It's fine. Like you have to take risks, but take calculated risks, not like blindly going for it with no idea at all. And yeah, so that's what I would say. But when I started this thing, I had no idea about what I will be doing in future. Like 3 years back,
Okay.
I never thought of starting exhibitions and doing workshops or
Mm.
teaching students, actually children's and all. I never thought about it. I just enjoyed doing. So the like a simple thing, like a kid in me, if I have to say,
Mm.
I just love the way how, like if I mix red and yellow, I know that it becomes orange. But the way it becomes orange, that gives me that joy. So that's what I love. And that's
Yes.
been my inspiration and
Mm.
aim all the time. So I never thought that I will do something phenomenally, like earning thing out of this. It just came into my way, what I would say. So yeah,
I
yeah,
can
something, yeah.
totally relate with what you are saying. Like, even I have never thought this can be a profession someday.
Mm,
I was still working in my corporate job, and I never thought that I could earn from this actually.
yeah.
So I was just posting my work on social media. Thanks to internet, we can
Mm,
reach to many people.
no,
So, like if we just consider our family members, our friend circle, we don't see much people who appreciate art or who
yeah.
can invest money into buying art. By seeing
Hmm.
this, we think that there are no opportunities for artists. But
True.
actually, right now, because of the internet, it has
Yep.
become kind of easy for us to reach to right
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
audience.
I
So if you
totally.
are out there and consistent with your work, and if you just focus on improving your skills,
Skills.
we never know what kind of opportunities can come
Mm,
up. So
true.
I
True.
have also
Yeah.
experienced the same. I
Yeah.
got commissioned works from nowhere. I did not expect it. The only thing is I kept doing it. From
Hmm.
2018 till now, I have never stopped. Like even though when I didn't have commission works, even when
Yeah.
I didn't have students, I never stopped doing it. I
Hmm.
kept doing it, and opportunities have come along the way, and I have utilized them. Like initially, I
Yeah.
was very hesitant to take online classes, even though
Yeah.
people were
Yeah.
asking and they were interested to learn
True.
from me. I
Hmm.
had many self-limiting beliefs that like I did not learn art anywhere. How can I teach to someone? So
Yeah.
all this kind of thinking was going in my mind.
Hmm.
But once I saw like people were really appreciating my work, and there is something because of that they are approaching me. Once
Hmm.
I realized that, I started doing it. So now, like there are many more opportunities they'll be coming, and
True.
like we just have to choose what is right for us
True.
and what is not.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. True.
as
There are
you
a lot of
said,
opportunities. Yeah.
yeah, as
And
you said, we don't have to quit our job or
and
something for doing art completely. We
yeah.
just have to focus. I mean, like whatever the extra time you have, you utilize it here.
Hmm.
And yeah, there will be a certain time where you feel that, okay, this is the right time for me to quit everything and switch as an
And
artist.
switch to this.
So
Yeah.
that,
True.
yeah,
Yeah. You will realize that. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. That's how it works actually. Yeah.
yeah.
True.
And
True. True.
okay, you can just answer
Okay.
your audience questions. You wanted to
Okay.
show
Yeah.
your material, right?
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, I'll start with this graphite pencil thing. Like, mostly I just put all the material things like in description. But yeah, there's
Mm.
like, some people asking about what materials I use. For this black and white thing, I use Bristol paper, which, like if I have to show quickly, like this is the Bristol paper I use. Okay, this is smooth paper and pencils. Pretty much everyone knows that Stradler pencils, blue colored one. So that's
Mm.
standard pencil. Like most of people use this that same pencil actually.
Mm.
But actually, the question which I got was what blending tool I use actually
Okay.
for making blurry results. Which I
Mm.
just said that I love blurry results. So I use brush actually. I tried many blending tools like blending stump, earbird, and other tools as well. But like after a lot of trial and error, I got comfortable with brush. And another thing is tissue paper. If it is a bigger area
Mm.
to
Mm.
blend, then I go for tissue paper. So that's one of that. And like someone asked about what type of art subject that that is difficult for me. Okay, so actually I don't really, look at the subject, what kind of subject it is. It doesn't matter whether it is a banana or it's a face tool. It all I see is just value. Is it light? Is it medium? Is it dark? That's all I see. And you should
Yes.
be in that way. You should be like
Mm.
judging what subject it is, or how it is, or how it is posing. No, you treat it as just as a subject. Doesn't matter what it is actually. So considering that, but what I'm afraid of is hair because it is so natural
Okay.
that you cannot copy. Yeah. So you cannot copy each and every thing. You just have to create
Yes.
fake illusion of hair. You're not
That's
literally
true.
drawing hair, you're just creating illusion of hair. And
Mm.
you know that you are creating illusion. You're not literally drawing hair. If you end up, if you try to draw hair, it will look flat for sure. So that is what I feel like, difficult to draw because you
Mm.
cannot literally copy from the reference picture. So that is
Okay.
one of that. And how do I make realistic drawings actually? So as I just said, I just look at values. Is it light? Is it medium? Is
Mm.
it dark? And I usually start from medium and I use brush to create light values. And of course I have a lot of pencils to make values dark. And
Okay.
that's what that's how I do it. And as well as like what I know is like I'm a very slow guy. I take a lot of time, and I'm very happy about that because
Mm.
it just gives me that comfort of spending lot of time and making something perfect. I don't intentionally put too much of time. Actually, I have kind of like a little bit of OCD. If I don't feel that it is
Okay.
satisfying, I cannot move to something else. And in
Understand.
between this, I lose control of time, like how much time that I'm spending. And
Mm.
it works in my favor. Then why not? Yeah. So I end up spending a lot of time and of course like
Okay.
I love spending that time actually. So that's how this my drawings become realistic. But my intention is never to make it realistic. I don't think that I have to make it realistic. It just becomes realistic because I have that OCD of making something perfect. It should look perfect, not realistic. I don't try for that. I just
I
try to make it
understand. I
perfect.
totally
Yeah,
relate with you.
yeah,
Like when somebody asks me to create rough artwork, also I can't do
yeah,
because like whatever that I see in the reference photo, I want that in my drawing. Otherwise,
correct.
I won't be
Yes.
satisfied.
Hmm.
Sometimes, like what happens, like when I have a commissioned portrait artist, I'll be
Mm-hmm.
sending them the progress pictures, right? They'll say what is pending now. It is all done, right? I
Yes.
feel still there is
There
50%
is
of work is remaining. So even though my client is satisfied, I don't leave. Like for me,
I know
like
that personal
everything is very
satisfaction,
important.
yeah, is more important than
Yeah.
customer satisfaction.
So it
Yeah, I know. Yeah, all those things.
mostly depends on our observation, what we
True.
see. We can only draw what we see, right? So I don't
Yeah.
see any rough pictures, uh,
Mm.
cartoonish pictures. I see like
Yeah.
every detail. I observe a lot. Maybe that is the reason. I try
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
I try to create everything realistic.
Mm.
It's not like my intention. Like that is how I know. Other
Yeah.
than that, I can't do anything.
True, true, true. Same here, actually. Yeah. So those were some questions which I got about graphite
Okay.
pencil. Okay,
Okay.
and
There
which
is,
and another thing like which white pencil I use. I use
okay.
this General's pencil. I just get somewhere here. Yeah, it is. Okay, so a lot of people asked about like what white pencil I use because there's like
Okay.
hard to find a perfect pencil which is pure white because like the colors that we see or the normal light we see, it's actually blue tint.
Mm.
Or if you get a warm light, that will be a little bit orange tint, right?
Mm.
So even colors like white color never comes in pure white. Either it will be a little bit
True.
towards blue or towards
Towards
orange
it.
or yellow, we would
Blue.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So this is one of the best pencil which I found as something in between.
Mm.
Like it's not too cool, not too warm. So general
Okay.
pencil, it's a charcoal pencil. So this is what I asked about. And
Okay.
about actually this color thing, which pastels actually, this thing I got a lot of questions, but I don't want to reveal the paper that I use because it is too costly, and I don't want people spend too much of money on this thing. And trust me, just by getting this costlier paper, your work will never get better. It's all the skills that matters actually. So what I would say is I started with one paper which is called Canson Meetens paper. You get in different, colors. Like you can start with white, which is typically like most of the people go for. But I was fascinated towards black color because it just gives that liberty of making observer to where to look actually. Like if you know
Okay.
Christopher Nolan's theory, what he says is like he intentionally make the scene or frame dark because he wants you to look exactly where he wants to look exactly. So it's something, it works in that way. If you have a white paper and if you don't make the focal point perfect, observer will be looking at random things. Okay, you are literally not hooking that observer to look at your painting or a film for that matter. So I follow that thing a lot. I typically use dark colors, dark brown, dark green, dark blue, like that. And yeah, so this is a Canson Newton's paper. And the pencils which I use are like these are general like loose pieces available pencils, which are this Conte Paris. Okay, so this is Conte Paris. So I
Okay.
use this pencil, and we get loose pieces of these things. You can call any art store from Mumbai or Delhi. Like I stay in Bangalore, so here like there are some art stores, CKP also, or that Bhaskar art store. They also have these things. The only thing is you have to order in advance, or like you have to ask them to get some stock and all. Then you can get, and like yeah, typically these are wide range, 48 colors are there, and you can use these things as, these are not beginner pencils, but yeah, like, this is the best what we get in India. There's no other brand which sell loose pieces here in India. And Canson papers are best to begin, but if you really want to go for something phenomenally good paper, then you should try this pastel matte paper. I'm like using it recently, but it has some like pros and cons. It comes like every medium comes with, every paper also comes with some pros and cons, and only when you should try those things. You shouldn't be trying as a beginner. You shouldn't be going for that paper. You end up regretting, like
First, you try with the
yeah, try with
pencils,
something
paper
to
materials,
understand
and
how pastel,
yeah.
yeah, because pastel behaves completely different than any other medium. It doesn't work like acrylic, it doesn't work like oil paint, and there is no going back in pastel. Once it is on the paper, it's on the paper. You cannot take it back, just like watercolors. The more you work, the more muddier it becomes, right? So it's not like acrylic. Something went wrong. Oh, oof, 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 I will paint with black, and now I'll start again, like with from scratch. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Once it is went on the paper, it's gone. Like the more you try, the worse it becomes. The more muddier it becomes, just like watercolors. So that's why you have to improve. Like prepare yourself to understand how pastel behaves and how color theory works with pastels, and how the only advantage with pastels, what I would say is, you can work either ways. You can start with light colors and go towards dark colors, or you can start from light dark colors and you can move towards light color, which is not the case with watercolors, say for example, where you cannot work from dark to light. You have to start from light and you have to go towards that, right? So yeah, that is one of the advantage. And another advantage is you can easily smudge the value and make it well blended kind of thing. So that's about this Conte Paris pencil. And there is one more thing, these pastels comes in soft blocks also. So this is the Rembrandt pastels which I use. So I just recently bought these things, still experimenting with this thing, and like which I can use to cover bigger areas. Like pencils, we have to spend a lot of time to cover bigger areas. Like considering the fact that I love spending time, but like I should tell you the secret, like I should tell you this flaw actually, I would say, is we have to sharpen these pencils with a blade. There is no proper sharpener for these pastel pencils because they're too fragile. They break a lot. Okay, that hurts a lot because it takes a lot of time to get getting to that sharp tip. And there is no any other way than using a blade to sharpen these pencils. And yeah, a lot of people also asked like how to sharpen these pencils actually, because the pencil which I mentioned, Conte Paris, it's a very fragile pencil. If you want hard pastels, then because there are different soft pastels also, like what soft, not
I'm
soft
using
pastels,
this
pastels,
Faber Castell
pastels,
Pixar.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
pastel.
those come
Yes.
under hard pastels. So you can sharpen those things with
Yeah.
crank sharpener or electric sharpener, and the barrel size is between 6 to 9 mm. So that fits an ideal, typical crank sharpener and electric sharpener. But the pencil which I mentioned right now is little bit comes under, like soft pastels. They come
Okay.
in the section where the soft pastels are, okay. And pastels are like divided into multiple things, like hard pastels, soft pastels, oil based pastels. So like oil pastels are also there. So what I use is soft pastels. And what you mentioned is pit pastel pencils. They are hard pastel pencil. The only downside for that is you don't have loose pieces available in India right now, or maybe I didn't find any, so far. So that's why I went for softer pencils. And downside for this Conte pencil is you have to sharpen these pencils with blade. There is no other way. You cannot sharpen this thing with crank sharpener, because one thing, it doesn't fit in the crank sharpener because it's more than 9 mm diameter, barrel of this pencil. And another thing, even if it fits, still you cannot sharpen this thing because it is too fragile and it breaks a lot. You have to use blade so to sharpen this thing. So the bottom line here is you end up spending more time in sharpening the pencil than actually painting. So that is why people really don't go for pastels. So if you
It
are that
happens with
patient
the
enough,
color
then yeah,
pencils also most of the time, because the
yeah,
lid is very soft. We keep
yes,
breaking the lid, and
creeping, yeah. And at
also
least you
we
have
need a
sharpener to
sharp
sharpen
tip,
that.
right?
Yes,
We need
for the
sharp tip
details.
only to draw, so we
Yeah,
have to keep sharpening. I spend
happening.
lot
So
of time in sharpening the
yeah.
pencils only.
Yeah, and in set, in one set, like we have 48 colors, and you can imagine if I'm spending 2 hours in drawing something, 1 hour I'll be just spending to sharpen the pencil and making it a pointy tip. Again, but just by sharpening, you will be just exposing the lid. You won't be getting a sharp tip. Again, you have to use a sandpaper,
Yes.
and you have to rub that tip on top of this thing like this
Yeah.
to get that sharp tip. And yeah, like this, like you have to do it like this to get to that sharp tip. And throughout this, you have no idea when the pencil tip is about to break, and you'll be like just in a hope that it shouldn't break, or like, yeah. So after a while you get used to it, and not a big issue. But the thing is, like, most of the people don't sail through this thing. So that's why there are less audience towards pastels, and blocks are not that easy to try. At least beginners shouldn't be going for blocks, is because only like when you have some experience, then you know how blocks behave actually. Block as in cylindrical, like pastel,
Yeah.
soft pastels, or cube shaped, those soft pastels or hard pastels for that matter. Yeah, so that is that. And another thing which I was asked about is how do I blend these colors actually. So what I do is typically I use hard pencils to blend, or else I just use my finger. I know it is toxic. You are not supposed to inhale this powder because it's rich of some materials. Toxic materials are there, cobalt, and there are some cadmium yellow. So that yellow, you are not supposed to inhale those things. It's bad for health. But what to do? We love
Even
pencils, so it's
like I
okay to
have tried
sacrifice.
some questions, right?
Yeah,
Like I have tried
yeah.
different blending tools to blend, but nothing was working. Only the fingers was the best
Yeah,
option to
and
blend
yeah,
that.
true. And it's so convenient
Like
to
when you're using
immediately
other
switching between the
materials to
pencils.
blend, that will stick to that material more
True,
than the
true,
paper.
true. And you
So
end up
I,
cleaning that tool
yes.
where you were actually wanted to immediately blend the values. But recently I got to try this tool which is called soft blending tools by Pan Pastels. These are a bit on a pricier side, but it's worth giving a try. But you should always try something, like a makeup kit. That sponge is there, right, for
Yes.
makeup and all. So you should try that thing. If you are comfortable with that thing, you should buy these things. These are, by Pan Pastels. So I use these things for, like if I'm covering bigger area, if I want to blend those things. I don't want to,
Okay.
spoil my finger because we just literally rubbing all the time, and the paper which I use has a lot of texture, and
Mm.
it really hurts a lot after some time. So if it is a bigger area, then I use this soft applications or
Okay.
something like that. It's like a starter set. Okay, so it's from Pan Pastels, soft
Fantastic.
blending
Yeah,
tools.
even
Yeah.
like when I was researching about the soft pastels, even I have gone through this. Like even this pan pastels also available in a
Oh
tin
yes,
container,
correct.
right?
Powder
So I
containers.
thought
Yes.
of buying a certain amount of time, but it was way more expensive. So I have ended
Yeah.
up buying that Senelio soft pastels.
Yeah, that's a good brand. The only thing is they're not that pricey. The reason why it is pricey is because there is no supply and there is no
Yeah.
demand in India. So that's why it is becoming pricier here actually. Even other tools also, like which I was talking about, some sandpapers and other pastel papers are too costly. One thing, they're not available in India. Second thing, if they are available, they are too pricey. Only because there is no supply and there is no demand. There is no demand, that's why there is no supply. So
Yeah.
that's why they are more pricier. And if you're lucky and if you have someone coming and going from abroad, then you should definitely try some soft pastels and some other different papers and all about giving a try. And if you really love the soft look of those pastels. But definitely these things won't look as rich as oil painting.
Mm.
But yeah, it has its own like charm to it
Yeah.
actually. So looking at it, you can say that it is pastel, like that. And yeah, that's about blending these things. And what
Mhm.
pencils that we should buy as a beginner artist, this is like what I would say is either go for this Conte pencils if you are planning something big. If you want to have stock of individual pencils also, then go for Conte pencils. Or if you want to try something just as a set, and if you're afraid of sharpening that pencil with the blade, then go for pit pastel pencils. The only downside is you don't have, who knows, maybe you might find some suppliers who can deliver loose pieces for you, right? So it's worth trying that pit pastel pencil. They're made for beginners, like to try. Of course, it is a professional like brand for professional art also. There are a lot of artists, famous artists, who use these pencils for detailing because they're hard
Mm.
pastels and meant
Yeah.
for detailing actually.
Mm.
So yeah, you should try minimum 24 colors, because with pastels what happens, you cannot really expect by mixing red and yellow, you cannot really expect pure orange. These are pastels. These things behave completely different from oil or acrylic actually. So you should have wide range of colors in your set to begin painting something. So color theory does work a lot with this thing, but you should always have a lot of pencils in your set. Your palette should be a little bit big. You cannot really expect range of colors with just 12 pencils actually. You should at least have 12 pencils inside. And yeah, that's about that. And
Okay.
what pencils I use for portrait is one of the questions. Yes.
There is one question
Yes.
in the chat. So
Okay.
shall we address that? Okay. How
Sure,
to
sure.
sell
Go
my
ahead.
artwork where you can exhibit? What will be the price for
Price.
exhibition?
Okay.
Okay, it totally
This is
depends on the
depend
galleries.
galleries
Yeah.
and whom you're collaborating with, that
Mm.
matters. And what you know kind of crowd that curator can bring for you, that decides the price of exhibition. So that is that. And like you
So
just
like
have to be
if you
in the
want
crowd first
to,
of all to get to
yeah.
know that exhibitions
So
happening around you.
maybe like in the first two exhibitions, we can't expect to sell our artwork. So
Yes,
our intention should be like at least we are reaching
getting
to people.
exposure.
People are getting and coming and seeing our work.
Hmm.
So initially, when I had exhibited for the first time, I didn't know that it is going to be like this. I expected
Hmm.
maybe somebody will buy my paintings,
Yeah,
but that's
same
not
here.
how it works. But at least I have got many inquiries for art classes what I conduct,
Oh,
and I have got students from there. And of course, like not everybody would be ready to spend so much amount of money in buying art. So instead of just having your artwork, you also have some products along with that. Maybe
yeah,
like prints of your artwork, or you can
hmm,
make them to some, uh, I mean, goods. Like maybe you can print your artworks on calendar, or you can make
yeah,
them as a bookmarks. So at
true,
least you are getting the expenses covered in that.
true, true,
So
true,
even to
same,
enter
true,
into galleries, we'll have to spend lot of time and energy into
yeah,
it. So it
yeah,
is not that easy, but we have to go and experience that. So in Bangalore, there are many art galleries. I think the Chitrakala Parishat is
yeah.
one of the, I mean, little cheaper compared to other art galleries
Other
in Bangalore.
galleries,
Yeah.
true, true, true,
So
same,
the
yeah.
gallery prices are just starting from 2,500 rupees per day. And if
Hmm.
you are collaborating with other artists and if you are doing it, it is going to be lot more cheaper for you.
Hmm.
And you
Yeah,
also have
true.
a good credibility by exhibiting there,
Yeah.
right?
True, true. Yeah, same. And before that, you should be, ready to exhibit also. Like, not that,
Yeah.
if you just have two, three paintings, you shouldn't be thinking of exhibiting with those kind of like, paintings actually.
Mm,
You should have a lot of paintings with you, not a lot as in like too many paintings. At least you must have, handful number of paintings to exhibit, and they should tell a story, or like they should be, about particular thing, or, like some famous artists are there, they work on same thing. Like you will know by looking at that painting, okay, so this is Raja Raghuvarma painting only, because you see some typical mark, or like, trademarks there. Like you see that rich,
mm,
yellow ochre color, rich, brownish green colors. You see this richness of gold, and like lady, like a lot of warm scenes and mythical, and all those scenes are there. So he worked mainly on those kind of paintings. So, and by looking at those paintings, you know that it's from this so and so artist. And to read there, you just have to start exhibiting with some handful number of paintings in the beginning, and slowly, I'm sure you won't selling your artwork. That's not gonna happen, because just think yourself as a customer, why would you just even buy that painting, your own painting for that matter, right? So there should be some hooking point. There should be something which is triggering you, that makes you feel like you really want that painting on your wall, right, in your home. So you have to think in that way. And at least what people think is this artist is well established, or is he famous, he or
mm,
she is famous or not. So that's what it is actually about. So in the beginning, your intention should be getting more exposure. That's how you should start. And slowly, uh, you will never know actually. Slowly you
mm,
will get famous, slowly we will be getting exposure, slowly people will be getting to know about your art and your art style. So after a point, you don't have to worry about that thing. It can go crazy after some point. So as you said, like I'm just adding some like words to that thing, that like you just have to experience things,
mm,
and with that you get to know what customer requirements are, what people are really looking into paintings, with what kind of like paintings they really want to hang in their houses, right? And if
yeah.
any commercial purpose, or like there may be people coming from like some business background. Maybe there are people who own coffee shops. They will be looking for something which attracts, make people sit in their cafe, right? So they'll be looking for something which relates to coffee, right? So something like that. So you just have to understand what really people want as painting actually. So yeah, that is about that thing. With experience only you get to know that thing. And exposure should be your aim, what I would say, which is what I also follow. But yeah, after a point you get
Actually, I'm running out
to
of
sell.
time. I have a class
Yeah.
after this.
Okay, cool,
So
cool.
I
Yeah.
think I can't able to take all the questions.
Yeah.
So I'll
Okay,
address it in
fine.
the stories, whatever the remaining questions are there.
Questions. Sure,
So
sure.
it
We
was
can
really
approach that.
insightful talking to you.
Same
Thanks
here,
for
same here.
joining this live, and everybody whoever's there on the live, I really appreciate your commitment towards learning. And I'm going to share this live on my feed, so you can go back and visit if you have any doubts. And yes, like you can share this to your audience who wants to get to see the
Yeah.
answer.
Sure,
Yeah.
I'll
See you
do that.
next time.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Yeah.
joining. I
Sure.
really appreciate your time.
Pleasure is mine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same to
Okay.
you. Yeah. Cool. Bye.
Bye.